With Balatro being the star of roguelike deck builders at the moment, a lot of indie developers are inspired to find their own success in the genre, trying to combine roguelike elements with gambling. I found some of these games, but I added other roguelike card games with special mechanics to finalize my list. Let's dive in. The first one is clearly inspired by the Balatro hype train, called Dungeon and Degenerate Gamblers. Instead of using the poker-styled elements that Balatro has, D&D Gamblers uses the blackjack mechanic. The difference in numbers, you will either receive or deal less damage. If you are bust, you get 0 points and will take a lot of damage in return. In between fights, you fill your deck with new cards. While playing for just a couple of minutes, you quickly see that there's a lot of different cards in the game. While a lot of variety is fun, it's difficult to start the game out with a lot of choices. So to view all of them is always appreciated. Also, the font on the cards is pretty difficult to read, and some of the cards can even be a bit too complicated to understand. Well, that's how I see it. I understand where they were going with this game, but it still needs a lot of fine-tuning to make it more optimal for a wide audience. You can also find a lot of different pop culture references in the game, like for example, Balatro itself. It's a game with a nice flow, quick flick animations like in Balatro, and a nice variation on the poker style mechanics. You can always download the demo on Steam to try the game out for yourself. Next up is another quote-unquote blatant ripoff of Balatro named Aotenjo, Infinite Hands. You can call it the Chinese Balatro because instead of poker, in this game you use mahjong mechanics. You can clearly see that this game is even more inspired by Balatro because the way you collect points is the same. You collect base points by playing your tiles named Fu and a multiplier named Fan. Now first of all, I played it a couple of times and I find it pretty difficult. I have to confess I actually never played mahjong before this game, so you could say that my opinion is based on my inexperience with mahjong itself. I will say that there's a lot going on in the game that can slow down the gameplay. In Aotenjo you choose different kinds of pots to enhance your tiles and rack up more points. Buy different one-use items, select artifacts to influence your end score, and visit different places to destroy or add tiles to your deck. With Balatro only having one shop for everything, progressing is a lot quicker. So let's go quickly over a round in Aotenjo. You discard tiles, try to find for example one sequence and a pair. By the way, you always need one pair when playing your tiles. You play them and get points for your first hand. Your pair will leave the field, but your sequence stays and enhances your next hand. This is where the patterns come into play. While in Balatro every new hand you play is separate from one another, in Aotenjo you try to form patterns at the end of the round that give you more points. So you are effectively building something. My overall opinion, it's a nice game but takes a lot more time to master than Balatro. So if you dare, try Aotenjo. So when I was editing my video, I had my list of 7 roguelike games. I found this game last minute and I wanted to include it in my list. This game follows a bit of the same trend as the previous games I mentioned already. It clearly takes the same overarching mechanic as Balatro, trying to combine roguelike deck building and gambling. In Bingle Bingle, instead of building a deck of cards, you alter the roulette in front of you. What you do is place bets and get enough points to clear the stage. You get a number of tokens to use in 2 different ways. You can use a token to spin the wheel and score points, or bet a token to increase your score if the ball lands on a pocket you bet on. After a number of rounds you get a boss battle with a unique effect. Now I didn't play Bingle Bingle myself, but the game looks satisfying and diverse enough to give it a try. Next on the list is Pair and Perils. Which mechanic do you think is used in this game? If your answer is matching pairs, you are correct. By flipping over 2 of the same cards, you can activate the effect of the card. Deal damage, shield yourself, heal yourself, and more. One special element to the matching pairs mechanic is that some of the face down cards are traps that deal damage to you. So next to receiving damage, you also lose a turn. Some of the cards can also help you detect different cards on the field by briefly revealing them. It's not a game where you can easily relax and click on some cards like in a regular roguelike deck builder, where you can see all your cards in your hand. Running to the toilet for a quick shit can really hurt your performance here. Of course, you would think that someone with a photographic memory can easily spot all the cards. Well, you can only see the cards when the field is being set up. Additional cards that come afterwards are placed face down immediately. If you want to give it a chance, you can download the demo on the Steam store. If you like this video so far, give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. I will try to add as many good games as I can in my lists. In Pyrene, you move your character along a grid system, moving one tile and interact with other cards on the field. Killing monsters will give you loot, but you lose HP of course. Here is where the deck mechanic plays its part. The items you find on the field are from your deck and they have different kinds of effects. Healing, receiving buffs, and weapons are some of the effects you can find on the cards. Now something I didn't notice at first is that you cannot stack your deck with all the cards you find along the way. There is a certain cap on how many cards you can use in your deck. The cards that are not used are grayed out, so you need to be picky when choosing your cards. You also have the typical merchant and upgrade shrines along the way. Every time you take all the steps you could or want in a battle, you can rest on the spot to refill all empty slots. But be aware, every time you rest, you use a portion of your food to stay alive. When you run out of food, your health is used instead. This is a nice mechanic to stop you from roaming through the field and killing monsters over and over again. When the portal appears to leave the field, every monster you kill after the shrine appears will give the shrine one extra soul, which gives you more powerful loot in the chest. So it's up to you to determine how long you are willing to stay and risk it all to make your loot better. Next to the gameplay, Pyrene has a whole story you can follow. You start in a destroyed town. You have to venture into the woods to collect supplies and rebuild the whole town, unlocking new cards, items and more in the process. A nice game with interesting mechanics and challenging enemies. You can also download the demo for this game. If you like it, give it a try. Now let's take it the other way around. Where did local Thunk get his inspiration for Balatro? He got a part of his idea from luck to be a landlord. I'm breaking my own rule here by including a roguelike deck builder without a deck or cards, but I had to include it. The idea local Thunk took from this game was the coins that stack up when you're collecting your end score. In luck to be a landlord, you basically fill a slot machine and try to generate enough coins to pay your rent on time. Every round you choose one of 3 items and some of them are pretty basic, like generate 1 coin, while others stay dormant and generate more coins after a period of time, like coal, first giving 0 coins, upgrading to diamond. But you can also combine different items to generate even more coins, like bees and flowers. In distinction to Aotenjo, luck to be a landlord plays quickly and goes fast, which is a good ingredient for addictive gameplay. The last game on the list is Clonizer. You are an astronaut traveling from one planet to the next. Every time you land, you have a different objective. Capture some points located on the map, try to survive for a fixed number of rounds, or drive all bad clones away from the planet. At the start of a round, you try to place your clones on the field and spread them out to search for bonuses or simply scout for objectives. The terrains on the maps have different kinds of usage. Some protect you from weather damage, while others give you more vision on the map. I also like that the maps aren't that big. Next to placing clones on the map, you also have to place shield cards to protect your spaceship. Every 2 or 3 turns, your ship gets attacked by another spaceship. So it's important to play enough shield cards to survive with enough HP. Overall, this game has a lot of variation because of the integration of the map and a nice way to combine the exploration part with deck building. It has also a fun cartoony art style, so give it a shot if this appeals to you. This was my list of games. You can always like and subscribe for more videos like this. Steam is full of great games, but sometimes you just can't find them all. I will provide you with more alternatives in the next video. In the meantime, you can always check out another video. Here are 7 roguelike deck builders like Slay the Spire. Stay awesome my friends, see you in the next one.